With the alt market kicking off and signs of alt season being closer than ever, I think it's really important to make sure that you're properly positioned for a potential upside move on the within the crypto space. And you want to make sure that you are picking some of the best cryptos within the space. So I did want to go over some of the top altcoins to watch, at least in my opinion. And I've tried to pick a fairly varied swath here in terms of what you should be looking for, what you could be looking for, I guess I should say. So let's go on ahead and we'll dive right in. We will talk about some of the top alts to watch. Now, in the thumbnail, you may have seen that we had 5 alts to watch, 2 of them kind of hidden out. Here we only have 4. We will go into talking about that in a second. The first one I want to talk about here is Solana. Of course, Solana is a large crypto, but it has done really, really well, and we've seen it have some major potential with various moves that it can make. Its all-time high getting close to almost 50% higher from what it is right now. So definitely some upside here, and potentially depending on kind of how crazy of an alt season we could get. I've seen calls from $500 Solana to $1,000 Solana. Only time will tell. So we'll have to end up seeing kind of what that looks like for sure. Hyperliquid is the second one. Hyperliquid's really interesting, and it's had a massive amount of success. They're essentially trying to do fully on-chain trading, and this has been something that has had a bunch of success so far, and continues to really draw a lot of adoption, a lot of usage, a lot of social sentiment, things like that. And so Hyperliquid's another one. It's also relatively new, and so it's had a pretty successful start. Now here, as you can see from trading volume, even though Hyperliquid and Sui, or Hyperliquid is larger than Sui, we could see Sui still doing about 4 times the trading volume here of Hyperliquid. So looking pretty good there. Sui has had an absolute tear over the past kind of 12 to 18 months. Things looking really, really good for them, pulling almost a 10x in 2024. So a pretty crazy move there. Sui itself, it's had a lot of really strong partnerships. It's got a really great team behind it, and they're really looking to try and deliver that kind of next gen layer 1. And so, obviously we'll have to see. Time will tell if they can deliver on that. But so far, there's been a ton of narrative, there's been a ton of hype, and a lot of genuine interest around the Sui coin. So I do think that will be pretty interesting to see how this ends up shaking out. Now, the next one that I want to take a look at here is Pepe. Now, similarly to how Sui was 4 times larger than Hyperliquid in terms of volume, we can see that Pepe is 3 times greater than Sui. So a ton of volume being done here on the Pepe coin, even though it is a much smaller market cap. And I think this is kind of indicative of 2 things. One, memes overall seem to have a massive amount of utility and power still. And we can see Pepe here even kind of more so than that. So even though it's so much smaller than Doge, it still does kind of seem to be like that S tier meme, which is why I do consider it to be similar to Doge in terms of the potency of price appreciation. But I think it can do even better than that just because it's so much smaller. So to me, between Pepe and Doge, I kind of consider them similar. But Pepe is so much smaller, I do think it has a much larger upside. Now, of course, we don't know for sure, but that is something that I am thinking about, and I do think makes a lot of sense. Now, the last one I want to talk about is pretty interesting because it's not actually even available yet. It's a pre-sale, and pre-sales, of course, can be a mixed bag. They can do really, really well. They can do, sometimes they can struggle. What we have seen though so far is that pre-sales generally lately have done very, very well. And this is a very interesting one. As you can see here, it's called Bitcoin Hyper. This is an interesting mix between both meme coins as well as utility, which I do think is kind of a pretty potent combo because we can see kind of the value of both here, right? And so we can see with this is the first Bitcoin layer 2 chain. Scalability and speed for Bitcoin are finally here. And then of course they are doing a pre-sale for their Hyper token, which I'm assuming will be kind of the gas token for this chain overall. Now we will go a little bit into the details of this layer 2, but so far you can see they've raised over $4 million at this point, and there's about 12 hours left until prices rise. So if you are looking to get in early and looking to lock in a lower price, now would be the time to do so. You literally have 12 hours, and then the prices will rise, and they continue to rise and rise and rise. So just be careful that you're not waiting too long there if you are looking to get in, because it can definitely make a pretty big impact over time. So if you are interested in learning a little bit more about it, of course, you can go and click the link in the description below. It'll take you right to the Bitcoin Hyper site where you can buy Bitcoin Hyper as well as just learn more about it. So you can see here, you can bridge from Bitcoin to the Bitcoin Hyper bridge itself, and then you essentially can operate on the layer 2, and then from there the settlement and security essentially it like moves up to the layer 1. All this stuff happens on the layer 2, and then essentially kind of posts up to the layer 1, similar to what you could see kind of from some other stuff that kind of is working on layer 2 stuff on the Bitcoin chain. So that's generally how it works. Now if you want to see, you can there's a kind of easy 4-step process if you are looking to buy Bitcoin Hyper. And there's also, you can see, you know, various things going on in the news, and then most importantly we can see here tokenomics. We can see 25% allocated to the treasury, 20% to viral marketing, 15% to rewards, 10% to listings. This is essentially generally like a token allocation for exchange listings, you can see here, and then 30% to development. So overall, I think a pretty decent spread for how the tokens are distributed. But overall, you know, a pretty interesting type of concept here. And I do think it's important to kind of track and see how this goes. I do think it could do really quite well, just because we have seen both utility coins as well as meme coins really do quite strong. And so I do think kind of this interesting mix between both could be pretty powerful. So if you are interested, of course, we do have that link in the description below. Now, of course, if you did find the information in this video useful, you can like and subscribe, do all that type of stuff as well. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.